I thought working at Diddy's New Year's Eve party would be the highlight of my life. But as the clock struck midnight and I heard the muffled scream from behind locked door, I realized I might not live to see another year. Hi everyone. Before I dive into this story, I have to ask, have you ever been in a situation where something felt off? Like you were surrounded by people having fun, but your gut told you something was wrong? Keep that feeling in mind as I tell you about the night I worked at Diddy's New Year's Eve party. It started like a dream. My friend Tiffany hooked me up with the gig through this elite staffing agency she worked for. When she told me it was Diddy's private New Year's bash, I was so excited I couldn't sleep the night before. I mean, how often do you get the chance to see celebrities up close? Let me know in the comments if you got the chance to work a party like this. Would you go for it? Or does it already sound like a setup for disaster? The mansion was beyond anything I'd ever seen, perched on a hill, glittering like a diamond against the dark sky. Inside it was even more unreal. Polished marble floors, golden chandeliers, and art that probably cost more than my entire neighborhood. I was assigned to serve drinks near the kitchen, and at first, everything was normal. The guests were glamorous, the music was loud, and the energy was electric. I remember thinking, this is it. I'm living the dream. But you know how in horror movies, there's that moment when things start to shift? Yeah, for me, that moment came around 9 p.m. I was passing through the grand hall when I noticed the man standing in the corner. He wasn't mingling or dancing, just standing there, half hidden in the shadows. His face was pale, almost waxy, and his suit looked slightly too big for him. I glanced away for a second, but when I looked back, he was gone. Am I just paranoid, or is that the kind of thing that would creep you out too? I shook it off and went back to work, but the feeling stayed with me. Then, around 10 p.m., I was sent upstairs to deliver a tray of drinks. The second floor was quieter, almost eerily so. As I walked down the hallway, I heard something. A soft, muffled sound coming from behind a partially open door. It sounded like someone crying. I froze. "Hello?" I whispered, but no one answered. The room was dark, and the crying stopped as soon as I spoke. "Here's where I need your input. Would you have looked inside? Because I didn't. Something about the sound felt wrong." I walked away as quickly as I could. When I got back downstairs, I mentioned it to one of the older staff members, Marjorie. Her face went pale, and she pulled me aside. "Don't ask questions," she said. Her voice was so sharp it cut through the noise of the party. "Just do your job and stay out of it." By 11 p.m., things were getting weird. The guests were drunk, laughing too loud, and the security team was everywhere, watching everyone like hawks. One of them even stared at me for what felt like forever, before finally looking away. That's when I noticed something even stranger. Guests were being led upstairs in small groups by security. They were giggling and stumbling, totally unaware of how tense everything felt. Have you ever seen something you knew you shouldn't get involved in? That's exactly how I felt. But I couldn't stop myself. I had to know what was going on. Around 11:30, I decided to check upstairs again. The hallway was empty this time, except for that same door where I'd heard the crying earlier. It was closed now, but further down the hall, I heard voices behind another door. I pressed my ear to it. "It's done," a man's voice said. "Good," another replied. "Nobody will find out." My heart was pounding. I backed away, but the door creaked open slightly. I caught a glimpse of the room. A blood-red carpet, a long table, and several men in black suits sitting around it. One of them looked up and saw me. I didn't think. I just ran. Guys, this was the scariest moment of my life. My legs felt like jelly, but adrenaline kept me moving. I bolted down the stairs, weaving through the drunken crowd. No one noticed my panic. They were too busy dancing, laughing, and drinking. When I made it to the kitchen, I found Marjorie again. I tried to explain what I'd seen, but she grabbed my arm and hissed, "You shouldn't have gone upstairs. You've made it worse." Before I could ask what she meant, one of the security guards appeared in the doorway. His eyes locked on me, and Marjorie stepped in front of me. "She's leaving," she said firmly. The guard hesitated, then nodded. "Make sure she does." Marjorie led me out through a back door. Her grip on my wrist was so tight it hurt. "Forget what you saw," she whispered, "for your own good." I stumbled into the freezing night, my heart still racing. I barely made it to my car. My hands were shaking so badly, I could hardly turn the key. When I told Tiffany what happened, she just laughed. "You're overreacting," she said. "It was just a party." But I know what I saw. And every New Year's Eve since, I can't help but wonder how many others left that party, scared out of their minds, and how many never left at all. What do you guys think? Was this just paranoia, or was something truly sinister happening at that mansion? Let me know in the comments below. And if you ever find yourself at a party that feels wrong, trust your instincts. It might save your life